Okay, so under no circumstances touch the like button yet. Okay, don't touch it at all. Or the dislike for that matter, don't do that one either. And so I want to explain to you the results of the last video, where I actually asked people to like the video in probably the first 5 seconds, which is not something I normally do, but there's been this whole slew of videos recently of people basically begging, you know, I want to get 1 million likes on this video because we're so good, whoa! And yeah, so it was basically just to just test the waters to see how actually effective getting likes or ratings at all on your video actually was. So how did that video perform? Well, it got a huge number of likes. For the early part of the video, it was getting about 50% like to view ratio. Now the like to view ratio is normally pretty constant at about 10%. This one was up at about 50% likes to views, which are absolutely colossal ratings for views. And it instantly picked up on YouTube, right? So it was, in many ways, it was a sort of, alright, YouTube was doing something bizarre, but it wasn't exactly like a viral video subject or something. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that most people do on YouTube because it's the easiest formula to go with, is you see what's trending around the place and you basically do a video on that. Now, there's an upside to that, is lots of people are looking for it, so it picks up traffic quickly. The downside is, of course, it's volatile. That what's viral today is forgotten by the end of the week. So if you want to make long tail videos, and that's what I strive to make, the long tail videos, the things that will be as good in 10 years as they are today. So things like, you know, a lot of the pseudoscience debunking stuff, these are, they come up again and again. These sort of bullshit claims, you know, like making fuel out of the air and all that sort of thing, and the complete non-starter. So you debunk these things well once, they should be good for a long time. Anyway, so how did it perform? So very high likes to view ratio, and almost immediately the subscription rate went up by about a factor of 4, maybe 5. So typically this channel gets about 20 people subscribing per hour, and that went up over 100. Might have even been up to 200 actually. Maybe it was an order of magnitude, but it's a huge change. So, you know, if you actually watch, there's these live subscription websites where you actually watch the subscription and it's ticking up, and then the video goes up and you go boom, it sort of shoots up like that. So having this large number of votes, thumbs up right at the beginning of the video, is obviously a significant factor. But that's why I ask you not to vote at the beginning of this video. So in fact we'll wait till we'll wait till sometime later in the video, and then we'll see if we can get a load of thumbs up as a big spike halfway through the video, just to see what effect that has. So not only did it do very well. Yeah, it obviously got featured somewhere on YouTube, and it's obviously completely automated because I don't believe they actually have people going through YouTube and deciding what they put on the front page. That being said, someone actually sent me a link on Twitter earlier that, you know, Sarkeesian's Rogue One video was on the, you know, the trending page on the front of YouTube, and you look at it, and it's got 12,000 comments, sorry, 12,000 views, which is nothing. It's got no comments, of course, and it's got no ratings, of course. So, you know, how is it that she manages to get on trending when, you know, there's nothing really there? I've not watched the video yet. So, just so you know, I'm back in England at the moment in my parents' place. And the cabinet behind me, this is a load of the stuff that my dad collected whilst he was alive. He was quite into the war stuff. Those are Encyclopedia Britannicas back there, and this is just, you know, one of the random things that I found. This is a World War I trench periscope. So, you know, if you wanted to see where the enemy are, you know, before you walk slowly towards the machine guns, this is the trench periscope you would use. It's not so good to look through. The optics are a bit kind of shot up. And behind here there's at least 3 maybe 4 bubble sextants. I'll see if I can get one of these out. So, what a bubble sextant looks like. You might be wondering, what the hell would you want a bubble sextant for in World War II? And basically, there we go. They used them to navigate the bombers, right? If you wanted to go bomb Berlin or something, you had to navigate halfway across Europe with no GPS, and the enemy were very inconsiderate. They turned all their lights off to make it difficult to navigate your planes. So I mean, ideally you look for a target that was easy to find, so on a river or on the coast or something like that. Anyway, when you couldn't do that, you had to navigate by the stars. They actually navigated the bombers. The bombers had this little bubble canopy. The British bombed by night, so you would basically fly across Europe navigating like you would a ship using these things. And they weren't terribly accurate. I mean, so as you would expect, you're flying a plane at, you know, a few hundred miles per hour, shaking like crazy, trying to get star sightings on it. And you could get in the rough area, you know, plus or minus 5 miles, which is actually pretty good if you think about it. You know, flying all the way across Europe and getting within 5 miles of a target is not bad. So there's a load of this sort of stuff. And yeah, later on they got radar, and you know, with 2 radio beacons you can triangulate to the targets, and then they got very good at the night bombing. So anyway, where was I? Yes. So yes, you can give this video a thumbs up now, and I want to see if that actually has the same effect as it done the last one, which is, you know, there's a huge spike in subscriptions, and also the ratings in the first hour were, and not the ratings, the views. The views in the first hour were much higher than they would have normally been. So normally, you know, a reasonable science video will get about 6,000 views in the first hour, and you know, a more a charged topic will maybe get 10,000. This was up at about 20-something thousand in the first hour. So you know, it had a very large effect. So yeah, I'm curious to see if having absolutely no engagement for the first half of the video, a huge spike in engagement, does anything for what happens on YouTube. I mean, so like I was saying, there's all weird stuff, like, you know, how does Sarkeesian get her stuff promoted? Is it just that you know, that she's got lots of friends who blog about it, and so she gets a load of external links at the same time, and therefore it gets promoted, or what the hell's going on? You know, on the macroscopic numbers, the Sarkeesian video, despite being, you know, on the sort of trending topic and such like, when I looked at it, it only had, it might have been up to 20,000 views, but this was after it had been up for hours, so yeah, I wonder how much effect actually being on the trending thing has, but yeah, I'm just sort of kind of curious, you know, because there's been this huge spate of things recently about yeah, arguably people obviously want to get their videos seen, and you know, for people who do this for a living, yeah, this is really important to them, and to an extent, whether you actually work out, or you know, what actually is like to get your stuff promoted or not doesn't actually matter, because there are so many people on YouTube that one of them will actually hit up with the winning formula, and so you get these channels that sort of seemingly explode, and even though they're not, I don't seem that outstanding, you know. So one of them was a guy called Leafy Is Here, who you know, absolutely exploded on YouTube, and if you actually look at his content, it's just, really? There's nothing here other than sort of banal commentary, usually about some nobody idiot on the internet. So yeah, so there are so many people on YouTube that someone will come up with a winning formula. In fact, this is very much how drug design works, is to actually design a drug, you've got to understand all the intricacies of the biochemistry of the body, and that's almost impossible to do. So almost all of the modern drugs are found by you just screen as many drugs as possible, and if one works, then you move it forwards to market. Which is actually now a very big problem, because people have basically tested almost all the compounds that they can find. And so if you actually take a look at how much money it now takes to take a drug from nothing to market, it's much more than it used to be. So this is another long-term problem for mankind, is we're running out of biologically active stuff that we can use, just by this random screen of compounds, which worked very well early on. Okay, so I think that's almost all I got. Oh no, I've got here, I have, I find all sorts of weird stuff at home. So here I have my astronomical observations going back to 1986. So I'm just gonna flick through some of these for you. This is sort of, we'll see how it goes. Come on, off you go. Fuck's sake. Yeah, just take the camera. That's me when I was a kid. Right, so what do we got? These are my shooting star observations from. So these are actually, stars, constellations. These are the shooting stars, as you can see, from 1987. And there's a sort of estimate of the magnitude here. So -2 is about as bright as Jupiter. That's a really bright shooting star. These are actually really faint. I mean, this is stunning in some ways that, there was shooting stars back in 1987, and this is the only log of them. And kind of pointless in other ways. It's just, this is sort of stardust that fell to Earth. So there's also observations of Jupiter. And these are my observations of Jupiter's moons. I don't think it's going to be quite in the Galileo range of. Actually, so I always sucked as being an artist. 1986, good grief, Saturn. As you can see, art wasn't my strong point. Uranus, didn't see Uranus for a long time actually. It's no Neptune, and the Omega Nebula. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? The Omega Nebula. There's a nebula down in Sagittarius. Took me an awful long time to see it. 90. So these are pictures of galaxies. This is another one which I took a long time to actually find. This is the Sombrero Galaxy M104 in Virgo, and it's meant to look like a sombrero. So this is observed with an 8 3/4 inch Dobsonian. It's actually quite a large telescope, but the thing is, this is in Virgo, so it never really gets that high in the sky. And globular clusters. Globular clusters are always beautiful in telescopes. Oh my god, I even tried painting. Yeah. So, Mars. Actually, that's not a bad drawing of the Dumbbell Nebula. You recognise these things instantly after a while. But that's actually this is all the Dumbbell Nebula, M27. It's a really quite bright planetary nebula in. It's actually in Vulpecca, but you usually find it via Cygnus or Sagittarius. Crab Nebula, supernova remnant. Obviously, they all look like fuzzy blobs. These are actually drawings of what you see through the eyepiece. So yeah. M13. This thing is absolutely beautiful. It's the brightest globular cluster in the sky, and almost through any telescope, these things are amazing. You sort of look directly at them, and they just look like this fuzzy blob, and then you just look slightly off to the side, and the thing just explodes with. You see that it's not fuzzball at all. It's just made up of millions of stars. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so. That was my experience with actually getting the votes early on in YouTube. Let's see what happens with the votes in the middle. So with that, I will wish you Happy Christmas with a picture of Mars as drawn in 1990 with a full moon. Wow.